What's going on, everybody? We finally up to date. We got everything ready to fire away. What's going on with you today, big brother?
Man, I'm just taking it easy, relaxing. I can't wait till 6 o'clock. For those who are going to be tuning in to us, we have a very important subject to talk about. But right now, we're just kind of shooting the breeze, as they say, behind the scenes. Even though if someone comes on, they'll see us. But
Yeah.
yeah, I just want to ask you, Chaz. You normally work out, right?
Yes, sir.
How often do you work out?
Well, because of my crazy work schedule, I try to compact it all into one setting, which the Google says you're supposed to work out for at least 3 hours throughout the week. That's what
Uh
the
huh.
guideline says on Google. So I try to pack all mine in one day. I do some jump rope, treadmill, sauna, basketball, and that's pretty
Well,
much it.
that's
How about
good.
yourself?
Yeah, I try to do it 3 times a week. I try to go to Planet Fitness. And I mean, I'm just doing little things to work the cardiovascular because I think we're going to have to revisit that. I know we have about 2 minutes. So right now we're not stalling, but we're just waiting because we don't come on until 6 o'clock. So if
Right,
somebody joins us, they'll hear us talking what we're talking about. But
right.
this is good food for thought. I think it's important that we continue to always talk about health because
Yeah,
in the African American community, it seems like we're dying from so much and it's health related.
yeah,
So I just think that we should continue to, give people a good warning and
yeah.
encouragement about taking care of ourselves. Do you think that today, as we live in a social media world rather, do you think that we're really doing the best we can as a people taking care of ourselves?
Not really, bro, because you see it like examples. You see these Golden Corral when I drive past them, the parking lot seem like they're always full. You see all
That's not
these
all us though,
commercials.
Chaz, man. That's other people too. You talking about
Well,
humanity.
well, no, I'm just saying in general, like you always see these commercials, KFC, Burger King, McDonald's, all these commercials, they show about all these foods, and we blacks love to go and try it, which is nothing wrong with it. We got to learn how to push back, but I agree with you, brother. I think probably in the future, we probably do need to touch upon that health and the exercise thing again because it's killing a lot of our black folks. High blood pressure, diabetes, cholesterol, all that. So I think we do need to revisit it.
I don't think we talk about it enough as a people. I think we talk about it in spots, or if something happens to us, if we go to the doctor or we find ourselves sick, and then the doctor tells us we need to stop doing this or eating that. But on our own, it's we got to talk about why don't we want to take care of ourselves, man? That puzzles me as far as why we have to have somebody tell us something, or why do we have to wait until we're sick and unhealthy to do something, like cholesterol and all of this good stuff.
And we got a couple more. Well, we got one more minute, but I just want to say this real quick, and then we dive into our topic. But I'm more, and I told you this before. People have warned me. Now I have my own little stash where I have my vitamins. I don't take the whole bag every day. Let's be clear, because if you take all that stuff every day, of course something's going to happen to you. But every other day, your vitamin C in small doses, your vitamin D, your elderberry, your sea moss, you got to get that in you because without it, you're going to be you're going to be deficient. And on
We
top of
know we're
that,
live. Someone just stuck their head in and said, "Y'all are live." I said, "I know we're live." I mean, we purposefully went on live. You see, everybody's
right?
trying to run the show, but we got to do what we have to do. So yeah,
Yeah,
but
and it's just important. Like I said, some people don't care about the vitamins, but I'm the older I get, the more I see these people telling us about the food has been stripped from nutrients. I think it's a must.
okay, so since we've been warned that we're live and we already knew it, let's talk about what we're here today for. First of all, for those who are watching this broadcast, we want to start off by saying we appreciate you watching this broadcast. We thank you for your support. We know that you don't have to watch it, but it's really important that you tune in to Adults Only Real Conversations and listen to what we're talking about and chime in because your comments, they really matter.
Yeah.
But tonight, again, this broadcast comes on every Wednesday at 6 o'clock Central Standard Time, 7 o'clock Eastern. So set your clocks, set your alarm because we really want you to be a part of this discussion that we have every week. But tonight we're going to kind of go back to what you said last week because you were on fire talking about a case that is really, really important. And I think we need to slow it down tonight and talk about the Carmelo Anthony case, which
Yeah.
basically I'll lay the groundwork, Chaz. I know you'll come in and take over, but the Carmelo Anthony case is one that happened on April the 2nd of 2025. I believe it was a Thursday. It was at a high school track meet in Frisco, Texas. Frisco is about 30 minutes north of Dallas, and it became one of the most widely discussed, listen to me, widely discussed criminal cases in the country. So here's what happened. Austin Metcalf, who was 17 at the time, he was a student athlete at a school called Memorial High School. He was a football player. He also was a track athlete, and he had a strong academic record. He attended the track meet with his twin brother, Hunter. Karmelo Anthony, African American, also 17 at the time. He was a student athlete as well, but he went to make that Centennial High School. He was also a football and track athlete, and he had no report of prior criminal history. But the two teenagers did not know each other before the incident. And what happened was, because of bad weather, the athletes were taking shelter under tents at a stadium. Anthony was sitting under a tent assigned to Memorial High School athletes. Austin Metcalf and others asked him to leave. A verbal argument followed. Witnesses reported that Anthony warned Metcalf not to touch him. So an altercation started, and during the confrontation, Metcalf pushed Anthony. Anthony then pulled the knife from his backpack. He stabbed Metcalf once in the chest, and the wound pierced Metcalf's heart. Metcalf collapsed, and later he died from the injuries. And Anthony surrendered to police shortly afterwards and admitted that he stabbed Metcalf because he was claiming what is called self-defense, or the law that's called stand your ground in Texas. When someone bothers you or you feel threatened, you have a right to defend yourself. And if it means that someone passes away in the occasion, then that's what happens. So that's what's going on, Chaz. They had the trial. Metcalf was sentenced by 12 jurors, all of whom were Eurocentric. And next thing you know, they gave him 35 years. And so that's what the uproar is about now. Had he done it when he was 18, they said he could have gotten as much as 99 years. So the African American community is torn. The European community is torn. And that's why we have on this screen, it says the Karmelo Anthony case. And then we ask the question, where is the truth? Chaz, where is the truth?
I think the truth is not being spoken about in this particular case. Now, I've done some research. I've looked at a lot of videos all over the internet. For the most part, all they're talking about is Karmelo Anthony stabbing this guy Metcalf. They're not talking about this man being jumped. Now, we talked about this, like I said, months ago when we first brought up the case. There's plenty of videos how we talked about how the brother was jumped. Nobody talks about that. The news and a lot of content creators on YouTube, they're making it seem like this black man is just this vicious, demonic thug that just, stabbed this man for no reason. No, the man was jumped and it was self-defense. And we're going to play some later on. There are a few seconds worth. But all these content creators seem like they're all saying the same thing, that Metcalf was wrong. They're not bringing up him being jumped. And it just seems like the truth is not being spoken. And in fact, a lot of these things, it seems like the jury and all the people that we talked about earlier seem like they're on Metcalf's side. That's what it appears to me.
Yeah, and I think you're right. You're spot on with that. And this is it's basically, it boils down to what we call standard of justice. In other words, there's some people think there's two standards of justice, but I don't think so in the United States of America. I think there's only one standard of justice, and that is the justice that Europeans implement upon us, because they tend to, for the most part, they tend to enforce rules upon us based upon how they feel and what they think. And one of the things I want to talk about later on, and hopefully we'll be able to get into it, if not this week, next week, I want to know, Chaz, where is the outcry from all of the African American entertainers, the National Action Network, Al Sharpton? I want to know the NAACP, the Urban League, the NFL, African American players, the NBA, baseball players, movie stars, rappers, entertainers, R&B, blues, country. I want to know where all the uproar is, Chaz, because I see there's some, but I don't know if that's enough, because to me, this brother, Karmelo Anthony, is seeming like he's being sent up the river without a paddle.
And I want to add on to that, brother. You're saying, where's the outcry? You're not going to see an outcry, because this is my take. I believe, like you said, the NFL, the rappers, the movie actors, the influencers, I believe whoever they're signed to, these music companies, their owners and their bosses told them, look, This Carmelo Anthony case, you better not say anything about it. And if
Mm,
you
mm,
do,
mm.
we're going to strip you from your millions of dollars, your network. All this stuff is going to be gone. So you can want to be brave and get out on TV like these Oprah Winfrey talk shows and talk about how you're mad at the system for what they did to Carmelo. But I'm telling you now, I really believe that they went up to these superstars and told them to keep your mouth shut. And if you get out of line, we'll just strip you from all of your credit cards and your money, and then that'll be that. And I believe the musicians and the NBA players, most of them said, okay, I'm not going, you don't have to worry about it for me because they love their paychecks too much.
That was really heavy what you said. And I really believe that we are a sad people. When I say we, I'm talking about the collective African American community, because we tend to make more fuss about things that are small. The things that are big, we don't seem to make a lot of noise about. Now, here is a young man who's 18, but at the time of the murder, he was 17, self-defense. Uh, I hear some people talking about it, even podcasters, broadcasters, content creators. I hear it in spots, but I don't think that I hear enough. But when not Jay-Z, but what's his name, that P Diddy, I heard a lot about P Diddy's trial. That was everywhere. I heard a lot about OJ, and I know every trial that goes on can't be national, but I just think, Chaz, this is something that we should lend our attention to even have dialogue, even on our broadcast.
Oh, yeah.
We told people last week we will be talking about Carmelo Anthony in his case. You would have thought that people would have gone out and researched and looked up questions to ask or to chime in to talk about this case.
Yeah.
But you see, we're quiet as a church mouse.
No, I'm
But
sorry, brother. They have been commenting. I've been letting them load up, but go ahead. I'll get to the comments in a second.
I'm talking about by and large, not just this broadcast.
Okay.
But I just think, Chaz, that we also have to push back, and I'll be doing some of that today. So I won't be what they call a good guy tonight on this broadcast, because I do understand our complaints, but I want to push back on some of them, Chaz, because I believe that we as a people are by and large a culprit. We're guilty of what's going on today by not doing anything. So go ahead with your comments.
Sister Marie fires in here. She says, Hotel Brothers, we appreciate her. Sister Barbara chimes in. She says, Hotel Kings, we appreciate that comment. And then Sister Barbara says, the truth is these politicians don't give a doggone about our people. I'm very angry about this. That's well said. A lot of these politicians, they really despise us. They hate our guts. And it goes, like you said, the O.J. Simpson trial and beyond. These people can't stand us. And if it were up to them, we would be off the face of this earth. But she's right. These politicians don't care about us at all. Sister Mashonda fires in. She says, hello. We appreciate that. Sister Barbara says, I don't believe that, Chaz. What was it that you don't agree with me on? Please put it in the comment section. She also says, if that was the case, I'd rather be stripped of whatever, if the truth should prevail. No money, no nothing will stop me. Well, you're one of a kind, though. That's a good statement, but not a lot of men and women think like you, sister. A lot of men and women, when you threaten their livelihood, you threaten their paychecks, they're not going to put that up, especially for some people like Carmelo Anthony and regular guys. They don't want to risk their livelihood for us. Brother Ray fires here. What's going on, bro? He says, black respect, black love is black power. And that's all the comments for now.
So Carmelo Anthony case, man, is a case that we should be up in arms about, Chaz. We really should be. And I'm one who I complain, but I think there's another part of me that's beginning to wake up about doing something about the complaint. Because for so many years we complained about the judicial system, and we know how it is, we know how unfair it is. But at some point in time, we got to ask ourselves some serious questions. And I'm going to ask those questions a little bit later on in the broadcast. But I just want to let us lay the foundation now about this horrific decision that this brother received these years based upon, they say the jury, they say it wasn't all white. They said it was like 9 white people, 1 Asian, and 1 this and 1 that. But their mindset is Eurocentric in that they think that we are, as a people, are the menace to society, if you will.
Right.
And this is why I think we should have this discussion, because a lot of us, we're shucking and jiving, as they would say back in the day.
Uh-oh. And let me go ahead and read one more comment. And then I got a video I was dialing up while you were talking. Let me go ahead and read Brother Ray's comment. He says, more of us have to make an example out of these races, like Karmelo did. He did the right thing. And I'm not a violent guy. I'm not a thug. I'm not a war thug. I'm none of those. But this brother is spot on. We have to fight against this stuff, because if we sit back, let people jump us, let people bully us, and do nothing, a lot of bad stuff is going to keep happening to us. But when you fight back, now, once again, I'm not condoning violence, but when you're getting jumped and it's self-defense, you're defending yourself. So Brother Ray was spot on with that comment. Now, I got a video I wanted to play. It's about 40-some seconds. This lady, her name is Megan Kelly. She got on her show, and this is what she had to say about the Karmelo Anthony trial.
Who got off? That's exactly how they're acting. That's not what Karmelo Anthony stabbed Austin Metcalf, taking this 17-year-old's life in an instant over nothing. He went into Austin's track and field tent during a track meet. They told him to leave because he wasn't part of their school. Each school had their own tent, though Karmelo Anthony's school apparently didn't have a tent for some reason. But that's not why he was there. It did begin to rain, but he was there intentionally provoking people. He obviously went into that tent looking for a fight, because he went armed with a knife that was not a little Swiss Army knife like Jasmine Crockett and her ridiculous crowd of woke warriors were suggesting in their Zoom call the other day.
Now I'm going to stop it right there. Now, you see what she said about this brother? She already has the stereotype that he's looking for trouble. Now, this brother has a knife. He has it on him to protect himself. I don't think Karmelo Anthony is walking around the United States of America just hunting people down, looking to stab. She already has this information about this brother. That's what she thinks. She said he's looking for trouble. And I totally disagree with her on that. And she went on to basically say, I'm paraphrasing here, that that's what he gets. He needs to be locked away and the key needs to be thrown away. That's basically what she was saying.
And I totally disagree with her too. I think that's a racist. I think that's a racist take. And when I say that, it's a racist take. First of all, she never did give the context. The context wasn't that Karmelo was walking around and just went in the tent and stabbed the boy. That's not what happened, okay? And we do understand all life is precious and all this good stuff, but she didn't even give the context before she started, going in on Karmelo. The context was that there was an altercation and Karmelo feared for his life. And what that's called is called stand your ground. And that means whenever you feel that your life is threatened, you have to do what you can to protect yourself. And in the event of protecting yourself, if it means death, then that so be it. And this is why we're not having a serious discussion, because people like her and others who don't understand the totality of what really happened, and they're not really fair when they give their assessment. And I despise that kind of mentality, because to me, it shows you the mindset of many people who really don't even know what was. She wasn't there. I wasn't there. But according to most reports, it wasn't that Karmelo walked around with a knife and stabbed him. That's not right. That shouldn't be said.
It's like she already had that in her mind about him. Like she's already got this narrative of him as being this thug and this evil guy that's just going around looking for trouble. I'm going to play a couple more videos later, but we got a couple more interesting comments. Brother Ray fires in here. It says, more of us are going to have to face the injustice judgment till they understand we're not going to take it. That's absolutely right. We've been taking it for years. They told us to sit back, pray, just keep praying, and eventually, like guys like Martin Luther King, we're going to give these motivational speeches and things are going to stop. To this day, it's still happening to us. So like this brother saying, we have to show these people we mean business. Now, once again, to be clear, I'm not condoning violence. And I'm not saying that we need to start getting guns and going to hunt to kill people. But I'm saying if you're minding your business like Karmelo, you're getting jumped, you're getting attacked, you defend yourself by all means. Brother Ray fires in here one more time. He says, bull crap. It was a pocket knife. And they weren't at school either. He's pushing back on the video that I put. And he's right. She made Megan Kelly, she made it seem like this guy is just this deranged psychopath. And Ray's saying that he's not buying that. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, and this is what I mean by the hypocrisy. In 2021, there was a case by a person named Kyle Rittenhouse. He shot 3 people, and he did it in Wisconsin. He killed them, and he got off because he used that law, stand your ground. These people weren't even bothering him. And then you have in 2023, the case that everyone knows about, Daniel Penny, who choked Jordan Neely He choked him in New York on the subway. We saw the video. This guy, Jordan Neely, this African American, he wasn't doing anything but singing. He choked this man to death. It was on video, and he used that law, stand your ground. Here's Carmelo, who was being beaten, or at least in an altercation, and he was standing his ground, and these people are not looking at it for what it's worth. And that's one of those things where I think we have to really look at some other aspects of this. And again, I'm saving what I really want to say until a little later on, because I want to challenge us as a people, because I think for the most part, we're bystanders. After all these years, I think we should be further down the road to help a brother like Carmelo or whomever who gets in this situation. But we're the kind of people that some of us, we sit back and we just talk about it. And I want to challenge us a little bit deeper as to where our problem lies as far as African Americans in the United States. Although we have a right to complain, we have a right to voice our opinion, but I'm going to show you where we come up short. I'm going to show you where we come up short. And a lot of people are not going to like it, but I have to be truthful, because it's just too late in our lives and in the world and society for us to just take pot shots at the cases and not try to do a little bit more about what it is that it's going to take to help us as a people when we get ourselves in these situations.
Now, I got another video dialed up. It's about 32 seconds. Now, this is an African-American brother. He said that, in which we talked about months ago, he's saying that he saw the footage of the brother, Karmelo, getting jumped by Metcalf and I believe two other people. Go ahead and check this out as I play it real quick.
Show that on that video. It's on the video. Okay, come on. You can see them. I'm going to say really stuff. They actually tell you when you're watching the video, pay attention in this corner right here, because if you look anywhere else, you might miss everything. Okay. So watch those four. There are four right there coming up. That's exactly what they say. Okay. And so you have no way to be confused that it's those four. Okay. So they come up, they surround them, and this immediate moment of not even a few seconds of pause, and that's when they jump. And so they actually did jump you. Yeah, it wasn't just no touch. It wasn't just all that moment. Yeah, it was a push. It was all kind of things. But
now, this is a brother. I'm glad that I had to actually search, because you're not going to get this on the news. See, the news is going to sweep this under the rug. The news is going to make sure this gets ignored. And this brother, this is what you call alternative news, where a lot of them, they're going to give you the full truth. Now, like we mentioned earlier on the other broadcast months ago, this brother was jumped. This is self-defense. Now, I got questions for Megan Kelly. I got questions for Glenn Beck. I got questions for these guys like Matt Walsh and these huge content creators who never bring this out. They just keep talking about this thug with locks that stabbed a white man, but they're not talking about this man being jumped. And I'm glad this brother brought that out.
Yeah, and my problem with it too also is the jury selection. You know, they always say that we should have a jury selected, a jury of our peers. And I looked that up because I always hear that, you know, and I say, well, Karmelo Anthony did not have a jury of his peers. You say, well, what does that mean? Well, a jury of your peers, it doesn't mean that what most of us think. And I got to clarify that now, because most of us think a jury of your peers would mean that there has to be some black people on there. You know, that's not what it means. It doesn't mean people of the same race should be your jurors. It doesn't mean people your age should be your jurors. It doesn't mean people your gender or from your religious affiliation or your background of the defendant. A jury of your peers basically means that the jury is selected from the community that's composed of people who are qualified to serve and can be impartial, meaning fair. And that jury, they were not impartial. This jury should not have been selected. And this is what I mean about us. And I'm going to start now oozing out what I wanted to say earlier. See, we gripe about what's going on, but a lot of us, we don't want to serve jury duty. See, a lot of us complain about the police, how they treat us when they kill us, you know, indiscriminately. But then we don't even want to encourage our young boys to be police officers. Oh, I don't want to be a snitch. You should be a police officer if you're African American. Then when we go to these houses and these places, when they call us, we're not going to be quick on the trigger to kill people that look like us when they may be intoxicated, saying we're fearing for our life. So I don't want to hear that crap about the system only. I want to hear the balance. And this is why it's quiet as a church mouse, because we complain about the system as a people, but many of us, we don't vote. Now we can say all we want to about it doesn't make any difference. The people that have the power in any government, the people that are the legislators, These are the people that are in office. Many of us stay away from that, and we're hypocritical when we talk about what we should do and we're not a part. It's like a person fighting and you're not even in the fight, but you're standing on the sideline telling people what to do. You're not in the fight. So I despise that mentality, and I want to correct it whenever it comes my way.
And let me go ahead and get to the comments because they're loading up here. Then I'm going to get to this picture I uploaded on the screen here. Let me see here. Brother Ray fires in here. He says, your peers are people who can sympathize with you and your ethnicity. That's well said. Brother Ray also says, black people have come together to support Karmelo Anthony, like Brother 50 Cent, Sister Cardi B, and for example, many more black citizens and black celebrities. Yeah, well, that's good. Jamie Foxx was on here too. I put on here. He was basically
okay, Chaz. Let me not be disrespectful to you or Brother Ray, because I understand what you say and I agree with what you're saying. I agree with what he's saying about black people have come together to support Karmelo. I'm talking about something a little deeper than that. I'm talking about not supporting him from the standpoint of putting money up. I'm talking about being a part of the system that's going to change these ways that people use the political system to our demise. See, that's what I'm talking about. I'm not just talking about 50 Cent and Cardi B and all these people that's coming to Carmelo's defense, and we should. But what about the next person after Karmelo? We're going to keep having entertainers come to our defense, but we'll never get to the root. The root of the problem is not them coming to his defense, man. The root of the problem is, when are we going to get people that's going to be involved in the process of how they treat us, what type of laws they make, how they use people that get caught with crack as opposed to people get caught with dope. See, this is what I'm talking about, and we don't have that discussion because we're sitting back talking about a Band-Aid that's over something that needs surgery. And that's why I'm thinking we won't have these good discussions, because it's always people supporting us. Yeah, but the people that's doing us in, them are the ones that we need to challenge the law. We need to be a part of the process is all I'm saying, Chaz. And again, I agree with Ray. I agree with you, but I'm trying to take it a little bit further. But we don't want to have that discussion.
Well said. Sister Nikita fires in here. She says, good evening. And yes, it was self-defense. Absolutely. And this is not a shot at Sister Sakina. I'm just saying this in general because I'm getting tired of these content
That's
creators.
Nikita, brother. You said Sakina. It's Nikita. You said Sakina.
I'm sorry, Sister Nikita.
You tripping,
She's
man.
right. She's saying this is self-defense. But a lot of these content creators, they're not telling you that. Once again, they all got this image like Megan. They all got this image that this black thug with locks, it's just this vicious murder, and that's not true. So Sister Nikita is absolutely right. It was self-defense. Sister Barbara says, Anita Crusoe. I'm not sure who that is. And then she also says, Anitra Yellowham. If you could go ahead in the comments and tell us who these people are.
Well, you know, I want to say this while you're saying it, Chess. You know that they did make an appeal. They Carmelo's lawyer, he did appeal it, and basically what that means is it's not having a new trial, but they basically want to go back in and try this thing again. Now that could take up to maybe 3 months or up to 2 years. In the meanwhile, Karmelo would have to sit in jail, and hopefully that appeal would come through where they give him a new trial, because out of the 12 jurors, if just one of them would have said Karmelo was innocent and it was self-defense, then they would have had a situation where he wouldn't be spending this time. And this is what I'm trying to say, Chaz, and I'm going to go back to it. I'm going to beat this horse all day. Many of these measures that we're talking about, these measures are discussed in the African-American community, but we don't do anything about them. We don't want to serve on juries when we're called. We don't want to vote. You know, we don't want to run for any office that's going to be a power position. We talk about power. That's what power is. We don't want to become attorneys. We don't want to become judges. So when someone comes before us, like this case, and we see it, we'll be able to give an impartial decision. We don't want to support qualified candidates. We don't want to become police officers. We don't want to become city councilmen. We don't want to get on the school board. We don't want to go to county meetings. We don't want to support legal defense funds and civil rights organizations. We don't want to learn the law, especially self-defense laws, criminal laws, voting rights, and constitutional laws. We don't want to mentor youth to reduce the contact with criminals, the justice system. We don't want to build economic strengths. We don't want to do anything that translates into political influence. We don't want to document. We don't want to challenge. We don't want to do anything about misconduct. We just want to sit back and talk about it because most of us are weak. We're scared, man, and we think we have power by quoting or talking, but the power is in the system, and we are not going to change the system until we take these blinders off and say, I got to get involved so that this thing that happens the next time with not Carmelo, next year to be a same situation, we'll go through the same thing because we're not policymakers. That's all I'm trying to say.
Sister Sharon fired in here. She says, Hotel, we appreciate her. And then Sister Nikita says, in my opinion, we got to start telling our kids to carry mace for protection as well. Mace will at least get someone off of you and lessen the chance of a lengthy sentence. Sad we even have to do this, she says, but it's a constant struggle with this racial bias. Absolutely. If you do have children, tell them about mace. Tell them about self-defense. Tell them if there's somebody that is bothering you for no reason, you do self-defense. I don't care what these teachers say, because some of these teachers will try to tell you, turn the other cheek. I don't have kids, but I'm with Sister Nikita. If you do have a kid and someone is bullying them, pushing them, I believe that you should defend yourself.
Let me say something on that too, Chazz.
Okay.
I agree with what Sister Nikita said and what you're saying. But I want to take it a step further. See, this is what I'm talking about. And I'm trying my best to understand there's something missing here. Now, I do want to tell our kids to carry mace for protection when people are bothering them. But I also want to tell my kids, when you turn 17 and when you become 18, I want to tell my kids, you can get a job on the police force. You don't have to worry about carrying mace. If you are a police officer and you go to a situation where there's an African-American altercation, you're going to use the correct judgment because you're going there with the right mindset. You're not going there thinking that they're going to try to kill you or you're going to have to shoot them the first thing they say to you. We have to become a part of the things that we're complaining about. Carrying mace is one part of it, and I concur with that. But the rest of it is, tell our kids not only to carry mace, but when you get out of school and you're not doing anything, why don't you become a police officer? Then we won't be complaining about every time these people go to these houses and kill our brothers and sisters because they don't look like them. We're not going to do that. So why don't we start having that discussion instead of telling them only to just carry mace? We should tell them to become a part of the system that is destroying us so we can change the system. And that's all I'm saying, man.
Absolutely. And now I want to go ahead and get to this picture I found. Now, this has been all over social media. Some said it's AI. I've Googled it. It doesn't seem AI to me. And the quote says, why is the Metcalf father close friends with the DA and the judge presiding over this case? Now, once again, you could Google these pictures yourself. This doesn't look AI to me. And my question would be, why does it seem like they're good friends? Why does it appear that this case is rigged? Why does it appear that all these people are smiling, having a good time? Because to me, from what I read from this picture, they know that they were going to throw away the key on this brother. They know that they were going to do this brother in, and they knew that this is going to cause a lot of pain and suffering and tragedy to the African-American community. This is why they seem to all be smiling, having a good time. And once again, Google it. This, I know an AI picture when I see it. This doesn't look AI to me, brother. Do you think this picture is AI?
No, I don't think it's AI, but I think that these people are of European descent. And the European mindset when it comes to African Americans is one in the same. I don't care whether they're Democrat or Republican or independent or whatever. These people don't see us for who we really are. Now, this man lost his son. Now, we have to be fair. We cannot be so short-sighted that we can't see. This man lost his son, and he's very angry. I would be the same way. All of us would be if we lost our son. So he's getting in good with a person who has the same ideology that he has, and that is destroy the end because he destroyed my son. He doesn't care about the facts. He doesn't care about everything. And so we got to look, we have to put ourselves in other people's position from the standpoint of we can't just see it as a black and white issue. We got to see these people for who they really are. And these people, since we've been here since the 400 and something years and counting, they all have the same mentality about us, whether this is a murder case or not. The rest of those people that's in this picture, they have nothing to do with this guy, Metcalf. but they have the same mindset when it comes to us as far as we're going to destroy these people. And this is why I'm beginning to speak out against my own people. And I can be called what you want to call me, but I know I'm telling the truth. And I don't care what anyone says, only because until we become a part of what we're complaining about, it's going to continue to happen to us.
That's well said. And I never thought about it like that. We do not for it to be sick, but we do need to put ourselves in their shoes to see how they think, because that explained that picture right there as well. Now I'm getting behind on the comments. You guys are really chiming in. I appreciate that. Brother Ray says, empathize, I meant. Sister Mashonda says, it was a setup from the get-go. Of course, the all-white jury was going to convict him. She's absolutely right. I believe it was a setup too from the get-go. And it's a shame that, once again, he couldn't have anybody from African-American descent, and not all skin folk or kinfolk, but at least to try to make this thing even and fair.
Okay, see, that's the part I wanted to put in. See, you guys are saying some beautiful things, and I want to just add to it. So I'm not against anything anybody's saying. Everybody is on par. I'm saying it was a setup from the get-go. Then why didn't we, before that jury was picked, why didn't we have somebody on that jury that was a person that was not impartial? See, that's what I'm saying. Had we seen it was a setup from the get-go, okay, before the jury is selected, we should have said, no, we don't want this jury. And no matter how long it took until there were people that was going to represent Karmelo on that trial, then we would have said, okay, but see, we're not saying that until after they convicted this man of 35 years. Now we're saying these things. And I'm telling you, man, I'm on a different level. I'm not better than anybody. I have my own faults. My mind is just like everybody else's. But I'm thinking about this a little bit differently. I'm tired of just complaining. I'm saying, what can we do, or what should we have done so that it wouldn't have been a setup? And that would have been a part of the jury selection process. So when they chose these people, we would have told them no, 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 no. And then when we got that right jury where we had 3 African American women, or one Hispanic woman and 2 white people and what have you, then we would have said 3 or 4 African American males. Then we would have said, yeah, that's an impartial jury.
Sister Barbara Fires in here. She says, we should be cutting up like the Spurs and the Knicks fans about this. Yeah, if you look on social media, it is a lot of people cutting up. I couldn't get all the videos. We may have to get them next week, but there were a lot of videos of African Americans in the streets. They were throwing things. They were using vulgarity. I mean, these people were in the uproar. So, sister, if you want to look for it, it's all over YouTube. But there were a lot of people acting they were just angry after this case. So you got to just look for it. It's out there.
She's talking about the passion that those fans had for that basketball game. See, she's getting into the intricacies and the nuances of this thing. She's looking at how these people went berserk over a game, whether they were angry or happy because they won or lost. There was a passion. We don't have that passion. We sit back, we get on a cell phone or our computer, we type up comments, and I'm not talking about our viewers. I'm talking about us by and large as a people. We get on these cell phones, and I'm included. So I'm not taking shots at anyone. I'm included in this. We have to do a better job, brothers and sisters. We have to do a better job of being a part of the system to change it so we won't have to be complaining like this.
Sister Nikita says, I agree with Ja because it keeps happening. Well, she's talking about when Brother Ja was talking about we need to become police officers and do things to try to change.
Let me ask you this, Chazz. Let me ask you this. If you told a group of African-American boys, 16, 17, and 18, and y'all were in a classroom and you said, I'm going to encourage y'all to be police officers, what do you think they would say to you if you told them that's what you want them to do for a career?
First of all, we would have to unbrainwash them because, like you said earlier, they already think that being a cop is a snitch, being a cop is evil, and being a cop is dirty. So we would have to unbrainwash them and tell them, look, no, being a cop isn't bad. You need to try to fight for the African-American community race and just to be fair and even. Because, like you said, most of them will look at us and look at you and look at me and say, I'm not being no snitch. I don't want to do that. That's for weak people. So we would have to unbrainwash them.
Okay, Raymond has a comment. I want to comment on his comment, but you can read that first.
He says, being a part of the system / racist system is futile. Past and present history shows that. Go ahead with your comment.
Okay, now I want to ask him, since he said that, and if he believes that, I'm trying to get people to understand if that's a problem, which he's saying, what's the solution? That's what I want to know. You're saying being a part of the system, racist system, is futile, It makes no sense. I don't believe that. I don't believe that us sitting around complaining all the time is the answer. But if he believes that, I want him to put on here so I can understand, because I really want to get it. And I'm not even being antagonistic. I love my brother.
Yeah.
I just want to know if that's what his mindset is. What is the answer? That's what I want to know, because that's not the answer. He's just telling us the problem. Okay, if he says that's the problem, then what's the answer? What's the solution to being in a country that we live in, that we're being abused by, that we won't get involved in because we feel like every time we try to get involved in it, and he's right. For the most part, there's been a lot of things that have happened that showed us it doesn't work. But when we all take the mindset that I have and begin to be these people and begin to be policymakers, then what should we do is what I'm saying. I don't understand that.
Go ahead, Brother Ray. Please put these in the comments if you get a chance to read it. I'm going to read this one, and then we're going to have to get back. But we appreciate you guys. You guys are firing in here quickly. We appreciate that. And Sister Barbara says violence shouldn't be the answer, as I stated earlier. But we need to buckle up and stand up against this evil prejudice system. She's right. And I said that too. Violence isn't the answer. But if there's guys in this case like Metcalf and a couple other people jumping a brother, and he's by himself, I'm not condoning violence either, but in that case, you do have to use violence to get these people off of you because they're trying to kill him. So you do what you do to defend yourself, brother or sister who's in that case.
I think there has to be a level-headed person in the room, and all of us should look at this. Violence is the answer when it's necessary. That's all I'm saying. We know that violence isn't the answer to go around killing everybody, and we've never said that. That's not even this broadcast mantra. But sometimes when people are doing things to you, you have to do violence so that you can have an equilibrium. In other words, a lot of people, this country was started, most countries were started because of violence. People went around and took things and killed people. That's history. So violence shouldn't be the answer, but sometimes violence is the answer when you're defending yourself. That's all we're saying.
And I want to go ahead and read one more tweet. And this is a guy, I couldn't stand him. His name is Matt Walsh. You can find this on his little YouTube page. But this is what he posted about a week ago when this trial happened. And I'm reading the post here. He put this on Twitter. He basically says, see here. See, he says, okay, he says, verdict guilty. Justice was done. The only shame is that his crappy parents can't be jailed along with him. But at least we got this murderous thug off the streets. Once again, he and a lot of people keep calling this man a thug. I thought a thug was a guy who got in his vehicle or got on his bike and just run around harming innocent people or trying to get street credit. That's not what Karmelo is, but that's what this guy, Matt Walsh, is saying. And then he also put other nasty comments, basically said, his parents should have been thrown in the jail with him. This is how these people think about us. Kelly, him, Glenn Beck, and I can keep going on and on. Jason Whitlock. All these guys think of us as these vicious thugs, and this is sad.
Yeah, that's not good. That's not a good comment what he said, and you can tell it's biased, it's racist, and everything people say isn't racist. But when you look at the context, you have to put that in there because that's the mindset that this man has apparently.
A lot of these comments are coming in, man. Y'all really must love this topic. They coming in so quick, I can't keep them up. Brother Ray says the Black Panther Party was a political party. They were obeying the law and using the system, and what happened to them?
Yeah, and I can answer what happened to them. The Hoover and the United States government made sure that it didn't last. But my question would be, why didn't it start back up again with other people who said you may kill one organization, but you're not going to kill all organizations? You see, all these are excuses, man. But now again, to Brother Ray's point, he's picking and choosing different things that happen in our system to say that things don't happen. And what I'm saying is he's right to a certain degree because that was a political party. But that doesn't mean that because the Black Panther Party was destroyed, nothing else is going to ever work. See, to me, that's a cop-out, not Brother Ray. Okay. The mindset of not doing anything, not starting anything. Well, Brother Ray, I would ask you, then what organization are you going to... Now, I'm not trying to be smart or funny. I'm just trying to be honest. Since that didn't work, what organization are you going to come up with to help us. And you can ask me the same thing. What organization should I be coming up that we should all come up with that's going to help serve our people if we're not going to do anything about what's going on in the system? I think it's really basic what I'm trying to get to.
Brother Ray fires in here. He says, Black people are not to blame for this. We have done all that we can do. We must develop our own system. We do have to develop our own system, because it does seem like when we rely on the white man and the white woman system, it seems like it's designed to keep us down. So I think he's right at the end. We do need our own system, because relying on them, you see where it's getting us.
Let's look at that comment, man. And I just, maybe I'm not making sense tonight. Maybe I'm way out in left field and people don't understand what I'm saying, or maybe I'm not making sense. I'm going to slow it down and say it again. We never blame Black people for what happened to Karmelo. What I'm saying is, based upon us knowing the system we live in, we should have some type of power structure included in the system to where that doesn't happen to us. So that's not blaming us. That's saying, let's do something about it, man. And I don't understand how we don't understand that. He says we have done all that we can do. If that's the case, then that's really short-sighted on us. I don't think we've done all that we can do. And I know we haven't done all that we can do. I'm talking about as a people. Yes, we've had organizations. Listen to this. Since Martin Luther King and Malcolm X and the civil rights leaders and those who were killed and all the Black Panther Party, since all those were disbanded by the government, what do we have now that has come behind them and said, we're going to keep this thing going? We're going to keep going till we push in, till we make some kind of political impact, till we make some kind of power, Black power. He talks about it all the time. When do we get Black power if we're not going to do something about what we're going through? That's all I'm trying to say.
Brother Ray, he's talking about this picture that I showed. He says that picture is not AI and all facts. So
we believe that. Yeah, we believe that. We don't need it. It doesn't matter whether it's AI or not. You mentioned it, Raymond mentioned it, and I know it. The mindset is what I'm talking about. These people, many of them, most of them, all of them are beasts, man. The mindset. It's the mindset they have, and we don't get that. See, we're, as Denzel Washington said in one of his movies, we're playing checkers and they're playing chess.
Brother Ray also chimes in. He says, if his son showed Karmelo Anthony human decency and left him alone, both of them would be preparing to go to college. He's right. I don't need to say anything else about that. If you leave people alone and stop bothering them, quit picking fights, because from what I gained, it seems like Metcalf and the two people were trying to pick fights. And I'm not condoning violence, but that's what happened. And he's saying, if you wouldn't go looking for trouble, these brothers would be getting ready to go to college. So he's right about that. Ray also says it was 3 or 4 Black people trying to be jurors. They were not selected.
That shouldn't have been there. No, okay, well, that should not have been. Now, I don't know where he's getting his information from. And if it is true, that's beautiful that he has insight on all this. But what I'm saying is, just because they weren't selected, the trial should not have gone on. We should have done everything we could to say as a people, we are not going to have this trial go on unless there are people that are picked from his peers. That's what I'm saying. So just because those 4 people tried and they weren't selected, we should not have gone forward with it, because we all knew what the outcome was going to be. It's almost insane to sit here and try to get us to understand that at some point in time in our lives, we're going to have to take accountability to help ourselves within a system that doesn't care about us. That's all I'm trying to say.
Sister Sharon says they should have asked for a change of venue.
Anything. She's right. See, that's where power comes in. We will not let you. We will not let you railroad this young man. We know that if this jury is selected, we know what's going to happen. The jury was selected, and it happened. We knew it was going to happen, and now we're complaining about it.
I see what you're saying. And Brother Ray fires back. He says we need our own system that is for us, not the system. Not the systemic racist system. And then we got one more comment. Sister Barbara fires in. She says, "Ja, how and what can we do to start right here and right now?" She's asking.
I just told us earlier. I went through a whole things that I listed about what we can do, at least start doing. First of all, we can serve on jurors and juries. We should. We can run for certain offices. Now, I know some people don't believe this, but to me, that's like counterproductive, where we bitch or we complain about what's going on, but we don't do anything about it. We just want to throw, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. No matter what we do, it's not going to work. I don't care what you say. It's not going to work. We tried this. It's not going to work. That's a defeatist mentality. Our ancestors will be rolling over in their graves if they heard that kind of mindset. They did everything they could. So in answer to her question, we can become attorneys, we can become lawyers, we can become judges, we can become police officers, we can become city council people, we can go on and on and on. I shouldn't have to tell us what we should do. We know what we should do, but we don't want to do it, man. We want to sit back. Not us, but I'm talking about as a people, many of us. We want to sit back and throw stones and say, it'll never work. It'll never work. It'll never work. This is not going to work. But then when you ask, well, what can we do? You don't get the answer because it hasn't been thought out yet. Think it out, then come back with solutions next week and tell us specifically how we can do it. Not just we need our own system. Okay, that sounds good. What does that mean? How do we get a system within a system? Those are the questions I would be asking.
Okay. I got one more tweet I'm gonna read from this guy Wash, and then I'm gonna play one more video. But you guys have been commenting a lot, so we appreciate that. You guys seems like you're really into this case, which you should, because this has been affecting a lot of people around the world. This terrible verdict. Matt Wash came in again. He says, if you followed this trial and came away convinced that Karmelo is not guilty, you're either so retarded that you should be institutionalized, or you're just happy that a white guy was killed and you don't care about the facts. In either case, you have no credibility on this issue or other issues from now on for as long as you live.
I wish he was on this broadcast, because I would ask him, if you call us insane, I would say to you, mister, you're insane. All the African Americans that were killed during the slave trade in the United States of America, all the women that were raped and pillaged, all the brothers that were hung, all the civil rights movements that was disbanded, all of the things that happened to us, all the economic woes that we face now, all the educational woes that we face now. You're the one that's insane, because you don't talk like that when it happens to us. But because a white boy got killed because of a brother was using what is called self-defense, stand your ground, you can't accept that. You despise us so much that you're willing to say that we're insane, because we're trying to say we see the facts and he had a right to defend himself, but you don't say anything about all those aforementioned things that I've said that has been going on for 400 years, and yet you won't talk about that. So don't get me started.
And don't forget about the tweet I read earlier where he basically called Karmelo a thug and said that his parents need to be locked away too. Now, we got a couple more comments. So I'm going to play a video. Brother Ray fires in here, says the black people in Texas are the ones who has to stand against their state. You had something to say, brother?
No. This is bigger than black people in Texas, although he's right. But this is bigger than the black people in Texas. We're being killed all over the world, all over the country. We're being abused. We're being mistreated. The criminal system that we live in is against all of us. I know he's keeping it in context, and that's a beautiful thing the brother is doing. But I'm saying that it's not just something that happened. Now, in this case, he's right, in Texas. But what we're going through is happening in Indiana, it's happening in Michigan, it's happening in California. It's happening all over. This case could have been anywhere, man. And I would be saying the same thing.
Yep, and I got this video loading up. It's about 40 seconds. Now, this lady, I forget her name. She's basically taken up for Metcalf again. Here we go.
We're not talking about a black person who was killed. Okay, we're not talking about a black victim or a perceived victim. We are talking about a black person who murdered a white person, and still we have people showing up, raising their fist in black power in defense of Karmelo Anthony. That is not only insane, it is so deeply demonic that you believe good is evil and evil is good.
See what I'm saying? Now, I forget this lady's name, but she's basically saying that Karmelo was wrong, and she's calling people demonic and all this stuff. I totally disagree with her. Now, once again, for the most part, all these people have been saying that Karmelo is wrong. They have not yet once said that this is self-defense, and they all, Wash, Kelly, this lady, they all have this narrative of us being these evil, vicious criminals. This is sad when you look at the population, and that's how they view us. They don't view us as just average citizens that are trying to make ends meet. They look at us as wild beasts, as you would say.
True.
And then I had one more video here, and then I'm gonna play it real quick. Give me 1 second as I get this fired up. Okay, let's see here.
And while you're getting that, the comment says the black people in Texas are the ones who has to stand up against their state. That's true. But the black people in Wisconsin, the black people in Illinois, the black people in Idaho, the black people all over the country, they should be standing up in solidarity with the injustice that was done to Karmelo. That's what I'm saying.
And here's one more video of another.
In Karmelo Anthony's trial, his defense team says the teen had no choice but to defend himself when Austin Metcalf confronted him at a Texas high school track meet. Defense attorney Mike Howard told the jury Austin had no legal right to put his hands on Karmelo or use force to remove him from the tent they were under at the Texas high school track meet. Howard described how it was raining during the event, and someone from Frisco Memorial High School allegedly told Karmelo he could come under their tent to stay dry. Howard continued, then all of a sudden, Hunter Metcalf, or Austin, says, "Who are you? You need to leave." The lawyer argued Austin and his brother put Karmelo in a position where he needed to fight back, saying Austin and Hunter had the right to tell Melo to leave, but they did not have the right to use deadly force to make him leave. Melo had an absolute right to defend himself against that. Howard claimed one instant.
Now, this is I don't know. I should have wrote this down, but this is another lady. You can find these content all over YouTube, but I'm just trying to give people a gist of what's going on and what these people think about us and what people on the streets are saying. And in fact, I cannot believe that we're almost out of time. Let me ask you this. Do you think we need a week 2 of this, or do you think that this is enough? What's your take, brother?
We can come back because I think there's still some unsettled business, and I'll definitely have some unsettled business that I want to talk about because I can't let this go. And another thing I want to say is when you're not around and you don't know what's going on and you kind of get it bits and pieces, it's easy to sit back and say what happened as if you were there.
Right.
But the bottom line is a young man was killed because another man feared for his life. He thought it was self-defense. That's called stand your ground. It's much more complex than what I'm making it. But I think sometimes we just need to sit back and stop running our mouths so much when we don't really know what really happened.
Brother Ray fires in here. He says, working with the system, with the systemic racist system that's targeting us is not going to work. Black separatism is the only savior.
And I would ask him this question, which I don't knock what he's saying. I will just ask this question. What is black separatism? And I know what it means in my mind, but does he have a 5-point PowerPoint presentation he wants to show? What does black separatism look like? I mean, theoretically, owning our own banks, owning our own grocery stores, owning our hospitals, owning our schools, that's theory. The reality is we don't have any of that. So what I'm saying is, how does black separatism look, even though it's the only savior, he says? I want to know more about how do we put that together in a system that we live in, that once we get in control of our own economics and politics and all of that, how does that look? Basically, because I hear that and I see it, but I just don't, I can't get that other than theoretically. I can see that. But the reality is we don't have any of it.
Okay. Brother Ray fires in here one more time, and we're going to get ready to wrap it up. But he says North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia should be black states for black people only so that we can separate from these people. What's on your mind, bro? What's on your mind? Go ahead and say it. We only got a couple of minutes, so go ahead and say it.
Now, I think that the Nation of Islam, that was one of the things that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was saying back in the day, that we needed our own land so that we can separate from this beast. And you see what happened to him, the Nation of Islam. And theoretically, that sounds good. Theoretically, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia should be black states for black people, only so that we can separate from these people. Again, theoretically, that sounds good. But in reality, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia are part of the United States.
Now, go ahead. I'm sorry.
That's all I'm saying, man. I get what he's saying, though. He's just saying we
Okay.
should separate. We should separate. I get it.
Now, if there's anybody that didn't get a chance to see this, please watch it on the playback. And once again, we appreciate all you guys. You guys were firing in here so much with the comments. I couldn't really keep up. You guys seem like you're interested, and this is good that we all need to discuss this. You can't sweep this under the rug. It's been talked about all over social media. It's been talked about all over the streets when you go to grocery stores. If you listen, people they're interested in this. I am too, because it shows how corrupt of a system we live in. It shows how corrupt people think. It shows how corrupt people really are on social media as well. They're giving their takes on this stuff too. And a lot of them are what you call just evil-hearted. Now, and I know a lot of people want to say, well, why does he keep going back to that Megan video? Because she is a prime example of what people with money and power, what they really think. Now, once again, we're going to come back next week. And like you said, we got a lot of things to talk about. But I'm going to play Megan's video one more time. And hopefully we get a lot of energy next week like we did this week, because you guys were awesome. Here's Megan's video of what we played earlier.
Supporters team is rank. I honestly can't believe my eyes. Like, they're acting like they're the victims. They're acting like Karmelo Anthony was stabbed by Austin Metcalf, who got off. That's exactly how they're acting. That's how Karmelo Anthony stabbed Austin Metcalf, taking this 17-year-old's life in an instant over nothing. He went into Austin's track and field tent during a track meet. They told him to leave because he wasn't part of their school. Each school had their own tent, though Carmelo Anthony's school apparently didn't have a tent for some reason. But that's not why he was there. It did begin to rain, but he was there intentionally provoking people.
See what I'm saying?
Now, she said, see, I would have loved to have been in that room, because I would have just said to her, I would have said something real polite, but I would have been honest about it. And I would have said, no, we're not acting like anything. We're acting like Karmelo Anthony is a citizen of the United States who stood his own ground, which is a law. And the Texas law says that if a person does not have a duty to retreat before using force in self-defense, if they have a legal right to be where they are, he had a legal right to be where he was. He did not provoke the confrontation. He did not provoke the confrontation. He did not engage in criminal activity. That was done reasonably believed by the brother, because he thought his life was in danger and it was necessary to protect themselves. That's what's basically called stand your ground. And if Kyle Rittenhouse could get away with it, and the other guy that choked our brother on the subway, Neely, that choked him right on camera where the brother wasn't doing anything, he killed him. You didn't have that same energy, Megan, when that happened. So that shows how racist and how hypocritical people like you are. So that's what I'm saying.
Once again, her buddy Matt Walsh, all these guys. And like I said, next week, I'm going to keep you guys plugged in, because I love YouTube. I love just looking at different videos and see what these people are saying. I'm going to get some more information next week, show some more videos that I didn't get to show this week about this case. And I really feel sorry for Karmelo's family. They have to live with their son being in prison for 35 years. Now, once again, the parents, I'm not a parent, but I cannot believe the grief and the pain and the heartache that they're going to have to deal with, knowing that the system screwed her son over, and they basically are telling his parents there's nothing you can do about it. Now, like you said earlier, they can appeal it, which I want them to.
They did appeal it. Yeah, they did appeal it.
Okay, and 9 times out of 10, the way it's going, they're going to throw it away the key on this brother. But once again, we appreciate everybody for checking in with us. Come back next week, and we're going to rehash this case out, brother. And go ahead.
Because Raymond, he's talking about South Carolina, the comment he made earlier. He says, yeah, but they are all sovereign states. The only thing that I would ask or add to that is, when he says they're sovereign states, okay, they're sovereign states, but let's be honest. Those states that he mentioned are part of the United States of America, who are basically run by a country of people who don't care about people that look like Ray and I. So the word sovereign sounds good, but the reality is this could have happened in Georgia. It could have happened in North Carolina. It could have happened in South Carolina. It happened to happen in Texas. So all I'm trying to say is words are beautiful, but the reality is what I try to go with and see. And that's what I'm trying to get everybody to see. he was right about saying some of the things that we need to do theoretically. But the reality is, all those states he's talking about, they are United States. They are part of the United States of America. And I'm just trying to keep it simple. That's all. That's all.
All right. Once again, brother, I appreciate you for having me on, and we hope to see you guys again next week. You guys take care and stay tuned.